A place that has been very kind to champions in RPL. It has been winners who have went on to win the championship or previously won the championship here in Monaco all but 2 times that we've been here in RPL F1. Welcome along for another week of RPL, round number 7 of the season for the 10th season running of RPL racing in RPL F1. We head to Monaco tonight. As we mentioned, tons of chaos around the circuit, tons of interesting stuff about it, lots to talk about. But in the meantime, I'm your commentator tonight, Ryan Searles, and alongside me, co-commentator, RPL Titan Iron, Wolf, is back. Welcome along.
It is good to be back here once again, teaming up with you. And what a track we are kicking off for today. My goodness, Monaco. Oh boy, what fun we had here for Monaco. I remember last season we had the controversy surrounding a driver. I think it was we had controversy with the
2
driver who
years ago,
was
2
basically
seasons?
hacking.
Yep,
We
two.
had
Two, yep.
a wild wet. We had a wild wet race in season 2. We had a couple of night races in regards to Monaco events. I'm actually hoping maybe Monaco tonight will be a night race. So that'd be pretty nice as well.
Yeah, I told the chiller to make it that, so we'll see if he actually lives up to it and does so. 39 laps, the most laps any circuit runs on the calendar. A lot of headlines to go through, but in the meantime, I want to go over Tier 2 and last week quickly. We've got Tier 2 yesterday, which saw a race under the lights as well, and it was on a street circuit too. It was Saudi Arabia. And, you know, we had Bonkers win the first race of the season for him, for Red Bull. And for Red Bull as a team who needed to get something going in Tier 2, they finally did. Meatnick was on the podium for McLaren. He's been on the podium here in Monaco before. And Owen, who's just joined our lobby tonight on loan, he got a podium last night for Williams. The first Williams podium in any of the tiers since Tier 2 Season 6 Belgium last game cycle. So it's crazy to think of how long ago it's been. But yeah, a Red Bull, McLaren, and a Williams on podium. We've seen some interesting turn of events here in Monaco. I mentioned there's been champions who've won here. And by the way, to recap things from last week, it was Korsman who took win number 4 over Scyther, on McLaren 1-2, and then Reese 3rd. But to talk about Monaco and past races here specifically, we've had, like I said, winners who went on to be champions all but 2 times here. And Alfa Romeo was on podium one season here, of Zatzi in season 2. Last season was short qualifying due to the reduced grid. Season 8 was the last time we ran full qualifying around here, and that was the last time we ran under the lights. We also have had some interesting turn of events in terms of teams that have won here and that have not won here, or done really well here in certain aspects, but not the other aspect. Here's one example. Red Bull and Ferrari have pole positions around this circuit, but Mercedes do not. Red Bull and Ferrari, the only 2 teams to have pole around here. And as for race wins around here, well, you'd have to go look at all the teams that have won. Got Red Bull, got McLaren, got Mercedes, but Ferrari have no wins around this circuit. One of these circuits they've not won at. They finished P2 2 times and on the podium 4 times. Last season looked like the chance for Scyther to do it for Ferrari, but this season they're going to need some others to do it for Ferrari. Jack Miles is not racing tonight, so it's Cam in the Ferrari, who would have been alongside him, but taking Jack's place because he's not racing tonight is HSR Gecko, a previous winner in Tier 1.
Oh, talk about a great stacked field here, and just seeing all the drivers here. As you can see on the screen, it says 19. Well, max is at 20, but 22. But it would have been. We could have had a full grid of 20, but unfortunately, one of the
Oh,
Alpine people basically had a basically backed out at the absolute last second. Um, So yeah, we'll have 19 people taking the field with Tadpole going by himself in the Alpine for the time being. But yeah, this is going to be quite interesting, no doubt in my mind.
We'll go over the championship standings later on in qualifying. Same with the strategy for tonight's event. Welcome along, chat. I see some of you are letting us know you're here. Hello, Barney. Speaking of people like Barney, let's go over some stat lines and headlines for tonight's event. Red Fire, midweek, had his contract terminated. He's no longer a part of the Ferrari Academy any longer, so he's going to have to come back with a different team very soon here. That new team is going to be Mercedes Academy he's a part of. We have a brand new driver, a part of Tier 1 Haas now because of it. It is AMS Knights. He was previously part of AMS. It's now FRC Knights. Sorry about that. We've got Cam, now full-time for Ferrari in Tier 1. L74G's not racing tonight, but if he was, he'd be serving a qualifying ban. Here are a couple of our streaks ongoing tonight. We have 4 different ones for 4 different academies for the main teams for 3 of them, if that makes any sense to anybody who understood that. McLaren have had a streak of 20 races in a row with points. Red Bull have had a streak with 33 races in a row with points as well. And a 42 race streak for Mercedes with points. And then add on Ferrari to that recently, 18 points in a row. Or sorry, 18 points in a row. 18 points, or 18 races with points in a row. Excuse me, right there. I better stop butchering here everything I see. We'll see if those stats keep up tonight for this event, because obviously around the circuit, easily things can change. We know how Monaco is. We'll get to the track in a little bit. Josh, Aston Lone, Owen, AlphaTauri Lone, Kurzman missing from tonight's lineup. Jack missing from tonight's lineup. JNT is reserving for Ferrari Academy. Gecko's in Ferrari. And by the way, just a little bit of history around the circuit that we were just mentioning a little bit prior, as it is daytime. Season 5, Monaco, was the largest margin of victory in a Tier 1 RPL event. 42 seconds Maxwell won that race by, and that was the last time a non-champion won this race.
Indeed, it was. It was quite a large margin of victory. I basically had to wait quite a while for the next guy to come across the line, but Maxwell basically played it well with the tire strategy and literally on lights, because I believe he was pole position in that race as well. Once those lights went out, he just bolted, and that was basically the last we ever saw of him because he was just gone, and had probably one of the most dominating races I've ever seen in all my time of doing Tier 1 commentary. And a fair credit to Maxwell there as well. And yeah, I mean, it is surprising that he's the last non-champion driver to win that race at Monaco. I mean, if Maxwell ever winds up coming back and racing full time, I think there might be the potential. Maybe he could go for a championship if the stars align. But we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe in next game in F124.
I know he's kind of focused toward personal stuff in his life rather than the league racing aspect of it, which we totally respect as well. But yeah, it's been good to see him. I think the thing is, Ferrari, you're keeping him around in case he does get the game because he's a part of Ferrari Academy for the season as a reserve. But like Jack said, there's 4 of his drivers a part of the Academy who don't have the game. So I totally get where he's coming out with that, and I understand it too. 20 drivers now tonight, with Hunted joining us a little late. Just to give you further context, Titan, we'll give a hot lap here on board with George in a moment, but we spoke about non-champions winning this race and champions winning this race. Well, one thing that will be talked about here tonight is track position is so key. You want to be starting up front, and as George starts his lap, keep in mind, this race has been won by the front row all but one time. That one time that was not won in the front row comes from last season. Sandoval, we come through now with George's lap. Then we go to Beau Rivage. He's got traffic in front of him. That's going to be another factor tonight. Traffic, a lot of that. Massenet, Casino. And now up toward Mirabeau, the end of the first sector. It's going to be at 18.9 for the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo on the circuit is sneaky good. We'll find out if that works out tonight. Hairpin time. Then toward Portier right up here, where in real life Pascal Wehrlein flipped in 2017. See tons of traffic toward that hairpin now. Now, under the bridge and into the tunnel. And now we go to the Nouvelle Chicane, which we saw Scyther make some overtakes here last season. A little bit of lag from George. He should be okay. Now, to back in the swimming pool section. The sector split. George is at a 53.2. And then the chicane toward Rascasse, one of the other opportunities to overtake tonight. Got a lot of places where you really are gonna have to go bold and brave to overtake around the circuit. Final corner, Anthony Noge. Start finish line for George. What's this going to be? The first ever lap around the circuit under full qualifying this game cycle. 11.9 is the time that he has. J&T further beats that 10.9. Part of the same academy, so George probably not too disappointed. I'm going to switch to TB because no one else is going on a lap at the current moment besides Lewis Piper. TB has the most podiums around the circuit of any driver at 3. We'll see if we can add another one tonight. 10.5, fastest of them all. Let's see who's on a lap or gonna get a lap in. Gecko's next. Is there anyone else we can go on board with that is coming across? Formula Cringe we can go on board with. 5 drivers have gotten
I'm on
laps.
board with Scyther.
All right, well, we can go on board with Scyther. Last season's pole sitter, in fact, out of the final corner. And then we'll go to Reese Dainty. How about that? I think Reese Dainty's a little further back. Scyther goes to the top of the board for Q1. Hunt, it's crashed out. That's another thing we should mention. Drivers could be getting caught out in tonight's event and crashing out. Hunted is the first victim of that one.
Yeah, he crashed out right at the casino corner. I mean, that is. I mean, literally, this track can really chew you up if you are not careful, because literally there is absolutely no room for error in regards to this track. In regards to overtaking the DRS zone on the main street, heading to Sandoval, that's mainly your main overtaking zone. But we have seen passes and attacks done in other areas, like going up the hill of Beau Rivage, Mirabeau. It's rare and extremely risky, but you can even try to do an attack in the hairpin. It's not unlikely, but it is rare. We have seen it done once or twice before. Nouvelle, that's another one, and going into Rascasse. But like I said, if you're not careful, this track can chew you up pretty badly, as there's like little to no room for error, and there are some corners that could easily catch you off if you don't know, if you make your turn in just a little bit too early, like the swimming pool chicane and the Nouvelle chicane. Those are two areas just to be careful of.
Reese Dainty and Cookie both have set laps now for Red Bull. They are in between both McLarens. Scyther ahead of them. Lewis Piper behind them. Lewis Piper in for McLaren tonight as Korsman, the full-time driver, is not here. Who do we have starting a lap that we could ride on board with? We've got Cam. For Ferrari, we'll go on board with. Yeah, speaking about the circuit, which we mentioned prior, it is a tricky one. Can track limits catch you out? In certain areas it can, but you're gonna be caught out more times by track limits by making a mistake rather than trying to cut the corner. I think there's a few areas you can cut the corner and not necessarily get away with it, but you know, end up picking up warnings. Here's Sandoval. You saw Cam just clunk the wall a little bit. You can clip the wall slightly, but you don't want to do it often, and you want to be careful with how you do it. Last season, on Scyther's pole lap, he did it twice. He did it carefully enough. Locking up the brakes there at the hairpin was Cam. Now he comes through into the two corners before the tunnel. Portier right now. And here goes Cam up the gears. He goes to the Nouvelle Chicane now. After turn 9, I have lagged out.
Yes, you have.
Well, I'll need an invite back then in a moment. Well, we're not going to get any laps on board with us now up until I join back the session.
Well, I'm
That's
still on
unfortunate.
board with Cam as he just clipped the wall on the exit of the swimming pool area. Clips it
Radio
again at
commentary.
leaving out of Rascast. So Cam bumping and bonking off the wall all over the place. I see no damage to the wings, and yeah, that bumping of the wall really messed him up as he goes 10-9, which is 11th fastest on the timing board. So yeah, Cam clip clip the wall quite a few times, and that cost him quite a bit. Let's see. Next up on my end, because I'm
Hold on, just 1 second, Titan. If you don't mind me cutting in,
yeah.
I think there's 2 drivers upset with an AlphaTauri, and it's Formula Cringe. Scyther said, "Don't do that again." Barney said, "What is he doing?" So I think they're upset with whatever is happening with Formula Cringe. If you can get on board with that as I join back the session, that would be greatly appreciated.
All right, I'll switch to Formula Cringe now because he is.
Because I don't know what he was doing to get them upset at him.
Yeah, I mean he's currently in Massenet right now, and
We'll
B
find
Good
out what
just put
happens.
himself fastest with a 9.7.
There you go. And that's for Mercedes too, isn't it?
Yes.
They've never had a pole position at the circuit, but they did qualify second with Blonde last season in this race. And you'd be surprised to hear that considering, listen to this, Molly won for Mercedes in season
Oh,
2.
we got another crash. I think. Oh, never mind. That's just the chiller retiring in the pits.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I
All right,
thought
there we
I
go.
thought someone crashed off over there, but
I thought so too. That's why I was looking.
That's
You got
just
me nervous a little bit
cringe,
there.
cringe screwing around.
All right, so just to clarify with what I was saying about Mercedes, yeah, they never have had a pole position here, but as I said, this race has been won from the front row before instead of pole position. It's so key to start up front around the circuit because it's going to be so hard to pass around here tonight, as we've previously mentioned. Molly won here in season 2 for Mercedes. Luke won here in season 3 for them with a Merc 1-2. And that's really it. But the only other 1-2 around the circuit was in season 7 with the fake TB and Joseph Loke for McLaren. So we'll see what that team can do tonight. They're not one of the fastest cars, not anywhere close to Red Bull around here on the circuit. So it's going to depend a lot on driver skill with drivers like Scyther and Lewis Piper racing for them. We're on board with Scyther now. 3/10 up in Sector 1. Whoa. This could be a really good lap. He rear locks it at the hairpin to try to find some time. He's got a Red Bull in front of him that he will have to negotiate his way through. Portier now, tunnel, section, then a Nouvelle chicane. This is exactly where he made that last lap overtake to take second place in this race after picking up front wing damage in this race last season. That's a place you can corner cut right there through that Nouvelle chicane. He avoided corner cutting. There's drivers retiring from the session, as you noticed, but they think they're safe. Right there is a corner cutting area. Right here, you can easily make a mistake. Scyther just close to these barriers, and exactly like I said last time in qualifying last season when he gone on to take pole position, if you're going to hit the wall, do it now in qualifying, and do it with just a little bit of your car, not the full end of your car, and the full end of that car has put him on pole position, and we got a crash. It's Reese in turn 1. Sandoval missing the front wing, and luckily still in the session.
That would not be good for Red Bull to lose one of their drivers.
Oh. He almost ran in the back of Scyther, who was trying to get out of the way of another car.
That was the Haas.
And Owen's going to have to go at the
way
AlphaTauri too. His academy teammate of Owen, he does, but that was really concerning. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, with
Good.
But yeah, with Reese, I mean, that would be very disappointing if Red Bull loses one of their cars, if he crashed in the wall and DNF'd. That would not be good because Reese will have to start all the way back in 16th place. Will have to start in 16th place, which is not good. That will put him in a severe disadvantage because overtaking at this track is very, very, very difficult to do. And it's not good for Red Bull because currently going into this race, in the constructor standings, Red Bull is not the leaders. McLaren is.
Yeah, that is correct. I believe, and I may be wrong, I believe this is the first time since Season 7 McLaren has led the Constructors' Championship. As for someone other than Red Bull leading the Constructors' Championship overall, this is the first time since I want to say middle part of Season 8. It's been since the last time that someone else other than Red Bull led the Constructors' Championship. It's crazy to think now that McLaren have a 13-point lead over them. We're on board with Knights now. We're going to go through this lap. We've got a few laps to still go in this session. We got the bottom 5 consisting of Knights, George, Shanghai, Hunted, and Wavy. You got Knights coming through the hairpin now. An easy place to also corner cut if you're trying too hard on that curb. You can get nabbed for track limits. The corner right after that as well, right before Portier. You want to find a lot of time. You find anything you can to gain that little small margin on the car in front. It's going to be tricky to do so, but that's exactly why track limits can nab you around here, even though it's a rarity. And also, rarity is overtaken, and right here in this area might be the trickiest place to do it. I think your only place you're going to have an opportunity for is the final 2 corners, which Knights will go through now. Here comes Rascass up in front of him. He's rear locking there as well a little bit to try to find some time, and this is looking good enough for the top 15 to be safely through. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. Knights getting into the 10-8. That puts him in the 12th, which does have him safe for time being, but just looking just a little bit further back, I mean Hunted, he crashed out in during the early part of qualifying, but one driver that I think is going to be a bit that's basically right now sitting at the cusp right now of possibly being eliminated is Cam in the Ferrari. That would be a massive upset if one of the big 3 gets knocked out.
Well, also, the fact of the matter is, this Ferrari is the second fastest car around here, as Scyther's reminding me to mention that. Shanghai goes 17th fastest. Wavy's on the lap. Wavy's in the wall, and Wavy has broken his front wing, and that's the second time in the last 2 seasons we've done full qualifying around here that Wavy in Q1 has broken his front wing due to a crash caused by himself. And we'll go on board with Cam now. Wavy's a part of that bottom 5. He needs to get a lap time in. And another thing I'm forgetting to mention, it's been pointed out to me by you folks in the chat, whether it's Twitch chat or Discord, doesn't matter. A Haas of J&T reserving tonight is in P4 right now in qualifying. Haas, 3rd slowest car around here, only a tenth and a half faster than the slowest car on the circuit, the Williams. So we'll be able to watch out and see what J&T can do. But now I'm going to give it to you, Titan. This is your previous Academy car that you used to own as team principal, Ferrari. And Cam, right now, could be facing trouble if he does not get this lap valid.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as he also keeps it off the walls as well as he makes his way through Tabak, he almost gets close to the wall there, but 3/10 up. That's very good timing right there. That puts him right around in 10th. Now gets through the swimming pool into Rascass, now into Anthony Noakes to finish off his lap. He's doing pretty good as he keeps it much cleaner as it comes across the line. And it is 5th fastest, 10.3 for Cam. But wildly enough, at this moment for Q1, he is not the fastest Ferrari Academy driver. That is held by G&T, who's 43 thousandths of a second faster.
Lewis Piper just set a lap that's 3rd fastest. Owen also sets a lap that's 11th fastest. That AlphaTauri is not good around this circuit, but their driver is outperforming it tonight. That knocks Tadpole into the bottom 5. Tadpole is on a lap right now, 45 thousandths down on the time. We're going to be focusing on the drivers next across the line now. No more hot laps for this session. So Tadpole's down on the time. Shanghai down on the time, maybe starting a lap now, recharging that battery. George got a little slipstream from the Ferrari for just a moment. We won't be seeing that unless it's down to that chicane, which is exactly where it happened. A 10th up for George, but he's going to need more. He's 2/10 up now coming through the sector split. Still going to need more. Barney comes across the line now with DRS applied, the only DRS zone. It will be good enough for the top 10. That knocks Tadpole in further risk to get to the top 15 and be safely through to Q2. Tadpole needs now almost 3 full tenths. He's coming across the line now. and won't do it. And George also didn't do it either. Wavy, no front wing, come into the pit lane, maybe, or just letting someone go. Wavy looks to be out of qualifying. George is improving. And Cringe improves. 11th place. Tadpole through Sector 1, down. Probably up to George now, I think. George might be the last hope here to get something done. And can he make a last-ditch effort here to get into Q2? He needs some time.
Well, Tadpole is definitely out for sure because I just caught him doing a full-blown Tokyo drift in the hairpin, but couldn't stick the exit and smacked it in the wall. So, unfortunately,
George
Tadpole is out. Switching back to George.
Tense
the
up,
only
and
person he's got to beat is FRC Knights. He has to gain over 0.7 of a second to get through. Is it possible? Can he get it done? And that...
No. No, he can't do it. George is out of qualifying as well. And by the way, it has started raining.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think my eyes are playing games with me because I think it is raining.
The last time I want to say we saw rain in Monaco, you mentioned Season 8. I think it was only qualifying it would have been raining around there. But last time in terms of a race around this circuit, it's been quite a bit. Oh, Wavy. Nice one.
Yep. God, Cringe's way.
Well, Wavy crashed there in Season 8 the last time we had full qualifying around the circuit, and both Alpines, both Williams, and an Alfa Romeo in that bottom 5. Tadpole, George, Shanghai, Wavy, and Hunt had crashed out earlier, made a mistake. I was about to say into this event before Hunt had even crashed out, I said, I was about to, well, I didn't say it. I was about to say then and there, I won't be surprised if we see some driver errors around the circuit that cause people to crash out of the session before they even get a lap in, or when they do a second lap, they crash out to where they can't better their lap at all, and we've seen that happen, and it is going to continue to rain in Q2 and Q3.
Dang, so it looks like we'll be seeing inters. We'll be seeing inter conditions for Q2 and Q3 most likely. But yeah, take a look at that. Take a look at the top 4. I mean, we have Scyther, Be Good, Lewis Piper, and TB. As well, Be Good just got booted out of the session. So I'll get him back up into Q2. Yeah, both Alpines, both Williams, and an Alfa Romeo both out. That's pretty crazy, no doubt in my mind. But I think so far, in my opinion right now, even though it's only Q1, J&T 5th in that Haas, I think he's the standout for Q1.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Big surprise there. I think the big surprise in terms of being eliminated, both Alpines, one on pace, one crashing out. I think the thing with Hunted crashing out is this is very uncharacteristic from him on a constant basis now. He's had so much bad errors that have gotten his way in Tier 2 and Tier 1. He's the previous champion in Tier 2, so this is not going to help him. But this might be similar to Baku in qualifying. A race against time that was in Q2, and we saw some big names being eliminated. Now it's time to get in some predictions in chat if we think any of those guys will be eliminated. Quick run over the drivers and constructor standings while we're at it right now, since we have a slight chance to do so. Cookie leads the Drivers' Championship over Scyther by 10 points. Korsman is 36 back from Cookie. McLaren lead the Constructors by 13 points, and Red Bull are 60 points back from them. Just to put things into perspective for those of you still wondering, Cookie has 6 poles this season, so does Red Bull as a team. There's been 3 different winners, 2 different teams have won, and by the way, since Cookie was not on podium at Imola, Scyther now has the most podiums on the season of any driver. So we'll find out what happens tonight. Cookie is trying to beat Iran Maxwell G's consecutive pole streak record. They're currently tied with one another. They share the record. But tonight is the night where he can beat that. And I know Cookie was talking about the fact that, not too long ago, he had not done a Monaco race and finished it. since either F1 2018 or just not kept it clean around here. But recently in another league, he went from P11 to P3, kept his car clean, and it's like the first Monaco race he finished in a while. Hopefully that confidence he can use can transfer over to tonight's race.
It's highly likely. Anything is possible in regards to RPL racing. I was just checking the Discord chat, and Cookie was saying, "Can we disqualify Wavy? He's a guaranteed safety car."
Didn't make the 107 rule, I saw.
I mean, he's technically not wrong, because I mean, Wavy has whenever he does tier 1, it's either he does he's either decent, mediocre, or causes a safety car. I mean, in a way, there are a couple drivers that are basically known for, basically whenever they race, they're like, okay, when are these guys gonna crash out, or when are they gonna cause something? Was that you when you raced?
I mean, you're in the commentary
in F2 we had Liam that did that.
I'm sorry.
I think it was season 7 or season 8, or it's a combination of both. There was a stint where Tadpole had like, oh god, I think it was like.
Darius! Good save. Sorry.
Who had to save?
Darius did. Good save. No, I was cutting in while you were saying that, and I said, "Is that why you're in the commentary box now?"
Oh hush.
Hey, I'm here for a reason too. I mean, hey, I was slow in F2, but I didn't crash a lot. And I came to realize, I was talking about it with Beatnik last night. Every F2 event I did, sprint and feature, I finished all of them. I didn't DNF in any of them, but I was just so slow. We need to get to qualifying now, Titan. We've got laps on board with the Chiller right now and others to come. So we'll see if they can get through. I've heard the rain is going to get worse, so this may be it for now. Maybe. We'll find out if this ends up staying the way it is, or these conditions do get worse. The Chiller's the first one across the line. He made a save there at Mirabeau, I believe, earlier on. 21.4. Obviously, the conditions are like 10 seconds slower than the Q1 times, as you could see. Scyther clocks in a time, TB clocks in a time, and AlphaTauri starts a lap. We've got Be Good on track, the last one of them. J&T was the big surprise of Q1. Can he do so in Q2? Yes. P3. Cam is up there. Cookie's up there for P3. Now this is where people will start getting eliminated, possibly, or in that bottom 5. Reese, P2. Josh, P5 for Aston on loan. That's a good run in qualifying. The Alfa Romeo's come across the line. Lewis Piper makes it a McLaren 1-2 in Q2. Next is a Haas. That is FRC Knights, slowest of them all. Owen is on a lap. Barney's on a lap. And Be Good's about to start one. We'll go on board with Owen, who got a podium yesterday in Tier 2, and he's not a full-time driver in Tier 1, but he's making himself worthy of one here quite soon after the Tier 2 season is done and dusted.
Absolutely. And Owen was originally planned to be the first one to get a lap done in the first stretch, but unfortunately he had to cut the Nouvelle chicane. Ooh, clips the wall, both parts of the wall in Tabak. Now making his way through the swimming pool chicane. I can't tell. Looks like does he have any damage? No, it doesn't. It looks like he's okay. He's in safe hands here. So now he gets out of the final corner. Take 2 for Owen as he comes across the line, and that is the 12th, 21.6.
Barney, invalidated. He is going to be facing trouble. I think someone just improved a lap. Who was that? That was Cam. So track conditions, not terrible, but not great either. Gecko. Yes, he did. Gecko needed that. TB is only a 10th down in the first sector. Who can we go on board with? Barney invalidated. Be Good's coming across sector 2. We'll go on board with him. Yep. We'll need to go on board with him just because we need to see where this does rank. And if the Chiller will have to go out again. He's currently in the pit lane. We spoke about champions previously winning this race. The Chiller is one of those champions who has not won this race. But Be Good comes across the line. Let's see if he will be in the top 10. Yes. So his gamertag or name being changed to I Know No Wanna. I don't think he wants to go back out on track now because I think he may be safe for the time being when he does figure out the track conditions here in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he might be safe, but you never know. I mean, you got right behind him, you have Cookie, who's in seventh, Cam, who's currently sitting in eighth, J&T, who's down in 10th right now, but I won't discount J&T for improving. So I mean, literally, I say with a couple of these guys, I mean, the top four, they should be safe and okay,
Especially with the
but
gap.
I'm not sure about further down.
I
I mean,
agree,
literally
especially with the gap.
the top eight, they're separated by 7/10 of a second between the top eight. At ninth, it's literally it's under eight tenths.
Yeah, Barney clocked on a lap. He was not anywhere near Knights' lap time at all. 7/10 slower. Sorry, not Barney. Be Good is coming across the line. He's going to be ahead of Gecko now. So that's some light at the end of the tunnel for him, considering how late he went out. TB was just on a lap, made a mistake, went wide at the Nouvelle Chicane. He's now got a lap time deleted from that. That's exactly what I was saying about track limits for tonight's event. It's so tricky. If you end up trying to just push that extra limit like TB did, make a mistake in the process, go a little wide, yeah, you can cut track limits. And you can be in the penalty club at the end of this race tonight. So something to watch out for some of these drivers. Track limits is not a big thing. It's a rarity, but it's just like overtaking. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it's definitely notable for sure. TB is the first driver calling it quits in Q2, believing he's safe into the next session. I would say rightfully so, and anyone from his teammate up in front of that should be too. Titan, we've got a lap on our hands now with FRC Knights. First Tier 1 start full time on this game cycle. Take it away. Sandovat, we go through now.
Absolutely, FRC Knights as he makes his climb up the hill, up Beau Rivage, now heading up to Massenet. Nice and easy on that line. Very nice and snug, close to the wall. Now through Casino, wilding his way down into Mirabeau. Getting nice and tight, easy. Almost a little lockup before Mirabeau. Now into the hairpin. Literally the absolute slowest section of the Formula One calendar. And even in the rain, you can tell at 20 miles an hour on the exit. Now through Portier, heading down to the tunnel. I think it's funny with the wet conditions. The tunnel is literally the driest section as he comes right out into Nouvelle Chicane. Nice and easy. Doesn't clip that little wall right there. You don't want to clip that. That'll hurt you pretty badly. Now heading to Tabac. See what he's got as he's making his way across. Oh, he's not doing too good. He's almost a second down. I think Knights is having some major problems trying to keep grip on that car as he's sliding. Yeah, it's sliding, and he just abandoned the lap. Into the pits he goes.
The Chiller just invalidated, trying to improve the lap, and he could likely be out of qualifying here if the track is not improving, and he's coming into the pit lane. The only one out on track is Josh, and now he's in the pit lane too. I think this could likely be the end of our session, and I just had it pointed out to me in chat. Cookie, not used to being this far down. That's for sure. 7th place for him. 5/10 off the top time, but looks like Q2 is done and dusted, and it's a McLaren. 1-2 at that, and a nice little surprise from the Aston Martin team with Josh on loan into the next round of qualifying. What usually is the 5th or 6th fastest car is the 7th fastest car around the circuit. Not good at all with their pace, but he's put himself into the top 10. And J&T, a nice little shock there. He's called it quits in this session. Doesn't believe he can improve. Doesn't believe anyone else can improve. He looks to be safe on that lap time, and he did really well in Q1. Gets rewarded with it in Q2 with different conditions.
Yeah, I agree completely. And looks like FRC Knights has called. He's retired, so he is definitely out of Q2 for sure. J&T, Josh, Cam, they're calling it. Looks like Barney and Owen have gone back out. I mean, I'm not sure if they really could do something.
Who should be out are those bottom 5. I mean, they're the only ones who should be out trying to improve because, like we mentioned, Titan, track position is key. I think Barney can improve the lap time if the track conditions aren't worsening that badly, but it's just a last ditch effort for most of these guys in this bottom 5 who are gonna be in that relegation zone. It looks like by these current conditions worsening.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
even
so
if
treacherous. Owen. Look at Owen. I mean, he can't even get around here. Sorry, you cut out, but just Owen can't even get around here without sliding.
Yeah, I was just noticing that too because I was on board with him. The reason I stopped talking was because you cut in. That's why.
It's all good. Sorry about that.
I cut But yeah,
well,
he's just losing it out of
this
Sandoval.
is treacherous. I mean, no heroics in a Sandoval. He almost had a heroic right there. Everyone knows that famous quote because you're a race engineer on the radio in the game. Says that to you. Turn 1, lap 1. And he almost had a heroic himself. But you know what? Even with that being said, he's only 600s down in the first sector. Oh, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. That'll be it from him.
Mm-hmm.
But crazy enough, though, he was only 600s down. I think if anybody does improve here, I think it's gonna be Barney. Barney, 7,000s down. Look at this to the first sector. Alfa Romeo had a nice little surprise here last season. Or, sorry, 2 seasons ago. Last time at full qualifying in Season 8. A double Q3 for them. Double Q3 for AlphaTauri as well. But this time, I don't think it'll be the case for either one of them.
No, it doesn't look it. I mean, unless Barney finds something in Sector 2 and 3. Yeah, I mean, literally, I think this is pretty much it for Q2. For Q2.
I think
unless
Barney can
something
improve.
happens. Oh!
Oh, clunks the wall. Trying to
Yep.
improve. 35,000s. I mean, he's not that far off his lap time, but now it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter now. I mean, he had some time left in it, so fair credit. I would have said he should have just done a Ross Chastain and Hail Mill in that penultimate corner, but I don't think it would have mattered. I mean,
don't know if
that's
that
going to be the
would've
only
worked.
way they find time drastically, though. You know? I mean, it's your only hope. You got damage on your lap if you do it, though, so good luck. Owen is down still in the first sector,
Yeah.
50,000s. A little bit better, but this is exactly where he messed up the last time. Does it better this time. Just so slow, 25 miles per hour. It's like going through a school zone through that section. You're just going so slow in that area. You just know you can't go over 30 or else you get busted for it, and Owen was busted for it the last time, as we know. And I'll let you take over this rest of the lap. I've done a lot of the hot laps around the circuit, but let us know where Owen's going to make some mistakes here, because I don't know if he'll be able to improve at all, Titan.
Oh!
Yep,
Yeah,
that'll
I
do
don't
it.
see anything at all because there he goes. Oh, smash and bash all over the place, and basically Mick Schumacher himself into the wall there. But at least his car's not split in two.
Whoa!
And yeah, also a little
Collision
bit
with
further
Darius.
behind. I just noticed. Just did a little check on Barney. He is not improving in the slightest at all. And yeah, Owen. Yeah, there's nothing that can be done. Owen is definitely done for sure. And
Cringe
yeah,
is
Formula
done too.
Cringe just clapped the wall in
Barney
the swimming pool
Broken
chicane.
front wing.
And yep, there
The
he
chiller
goes.
invalidated. That's it from everybody. Your bottom 5 has been decided in Q2. The Chiller, Cringe, who's had a collision now. Owen, Knights, and Barney. And Cringe pirouettes to make it a little bit extra special. But checkered flag is waving, and there's the bottom 5. And there is Q2 done. Scyther on top for McLaren over Lewis Piper. And they seem to be outperforming their cars. The wet conditions being the great equalizer once again.
You know, I'm just thinking in my head, because, I mean, Cookie is sitting in 7th place after Q2. Does this mean that he's going to have to resort with a tie in regards to the poll, in regards to consecutive polls?
I don't know, but Owen, more issues now. The Chiller, just on an in-lap now, it looks like. I really don't know if Cookie could still go on pole here with these conditions. I mean, he would have to be hiding a lot. But even with what he said about the circuit and what he's done in terms of practice, I let's say he takes pole position, it's not going to be by a big margin at all means either. Look at Baku qualifying earlier this season. He only qualified on pole by less than 2 tenths, and usually we're, used to seeing Cookie on pole by a decent margin. Has not been the case in conditions like these for sure. And Owen, last one to give us some magic here in this qualifying session, and then we'll be on to Q3. And
yeah, Owen's just having a little bit of fun. That's for sure. As
we've
he's
got
the
a dry
last guy
race.
on track.
Far as I'm aware, from what the drivers have mentioned, if it is a dry race, it's a simple soft to hard, medium to hard strategy, and there's no other suggestion for any strategy. But I will add in the two stop is likely. It just depends on your pace and the traffic around each other. If you end up making a pit stop around here, come out behind other cars, get held up by them because it's so hard to overtake around here, that is where the two-stop does come in effective. And we'll go over time you lose in the pit lane later on, but thought I'd go through it in between sessions to save us some time. Here you go. Here's the drivers into Q3. Scyther and Lewis Piper. Lewis Piper in this race last season was looking for a first podium on the season, and at the time a first podium for McLaren. He already has a win for this academy, the Alpine Academy. Got some podiums in McLaren last season. During the transfer window, he came back to the Alpine Academy. He's currently second, reserving tonight. Would usually be an Alpine, but Korsman not here. Restain T third, TB fourth, Be Good fifth, running on the top five. And also, both Ferraris into the next round. Cookie seventh, a little lower for him. Josh, the lone Aston Martin. J&T, the lone Haas for Q3. And we now have a race for pole on our hands.
Yeah, so definitely a race for pole on our hands for here, but it's going to be interesting because it's going to be done on the most likely it's going to be done on the wet weather tires. So this will be quite interesting, most likely because they're just going to be on the wets. That's for sure,
I
possibly
think it's
because
inners, though.
they're still going to chance it with the
I
Indus.
think it's still inners, yeah. From what it's showing, everyone still has selected the inter tire. I'll click on the Reese's stream to see what the difference is in terms of tires. Reese is going out now. He's on inners. Couldn't really see what it was, but I can go back to his stream by Twitch clipping it, seeing the difference.
Sather's out on inners as well. Same with TB.
The conditions do get better in Q3, so this will not be the only runs we see.
Okay.
It is right in between inters and wets, it looks like, but it's going to be inters for pole, and it will be later on where it does matter the most.
That sounds good.
By the way, one thing we should mention that we have not mentioned a lot, getting into the pit lane and getting out of the pit lane, two tricky things here for tonight that we should mention. Whether it's in the wet or dry, doesn't matter. You're trying to exit the pit lane without crossing that white line. It's a very narrow space. And you're trying to enter the pit lane without being hit, especially if you're in a DRS train, which there's only one zone around the circuit anyway. And that entrance to the pit lane, yeah, it's very tricky to be within that too and get to there in time, especially if someone's trying to make an overtake or whatever the case may be. But yep, conditions right now don't look so great, but they will get better throughout the session. We'll see what the last laps end up being. I'm not going to give any predictions for pole or top three. I'm going to opt out of that. So I'm going to give it to you, Titan, while we watch Scyther, the first one who will start a lap. What is your top three prediction here in Q3 for pole position, which will matter a lot around here tonight?
I mean, it's a little crazy that you opted out for it. I'm probably going to say if the conditions are going to be slightly improving.
Like to save some time.
I'm just gonna go ballsy. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna take my guess, just to say it. I have no clue what the poll time is going to be. I mean,
Neither
conditions, I have no clue. So I'm gonna opt out on what poll time is gonna be.
That's easy too.
But as for I think it's gonna be top three. I'd say in no particular order. I'm going to say Scyther, he'll be in there. Be Good. I'm gonna go ballsy and say Be Good will be in there. And I'm gonna
Okay.
go even more insane too. I'm gonna say Cookie will be in there. Because I think those two, I think they could possibly pull something out of their hats and get themselves into that top three. Will Cookie possibly break the record? I don't know. We don't know. It's possible. We don't know. But that's what I'm gonna go with. Be Good,
Chat,
Scyther, and Cookie.
give us your predictions. Can Scyther make it onto pole position in Monaco? He already has 21 to his name. As for the circuit, he has the most of anybody, the only repeat pole sitter right now. This benchmark time is good enough to stay on pole position based on what we've seen in Q2 already with this tire. TB is second. Reese is second now, taking that over. Josh will take over second. Sliding into turn one is Reese. But Gecko will be fifth place. Cam, can he find something here in the Ferrari? The last time in wet conditions in qualifying for pole position, he was in a Ferrari reserving in Baku. Cookie trying to take pole. Can he do it? Fourth place for him, not anywhere near the current poleman Scyther. Be Good has invalidated. Lewis Piper starts a lap. We'll go on board with J&T now. The big upset of Q1. A little bit of a shock in Q2, but can he be the big spoiler for pole position or the best starting spot for Haas tonight, which is previously P4 done by Monaco and another driver before that, which goes by the name of L74G. J&T, 7th place. Not good enough. Be Good starts a lap. We'll go on board with Be Good. I do expect some guys to do some second laps here just simply because the fact that this is a short time lap and conditions will be improving. Cam has crashed.
Cam's wrecked.
That is in the Nouvelle Chicane. He has shunted into the barrier coming out of it. Scyther improves. Track conditions are improving. And Be Good will be caught out by J&T here, it looks like, as J&T does get out of the way. Cars coming across the line to improve. Josh is one of them. The next one is the Ferrari of Gecko. No places improving from him. We're going to switch off of some of these guys because we're going to get to the flying lap. Scyther in Sector 1, not improving this time. He's backed out of it. Lewis Piper invalidated. Now back to Be Good. We'll find out what he does in a moment. Cookie not improving in the second sector, not improving in the third at all. I think he recharged. Be Good we're going to stay on board with now for the final sector. Clunks the wall. That may do him in for not being inside this top 5 now.
Yeah, that definitely had to hurt. I quickly saw where Cam was positioned where he crashed. Was on the close to the racing line of the Nouvelle Chicane, which I'm probably going to safely assume the inner wall, that little bit that sticks out. I'm thinking he probably turned in just enough for one of the wheels to just clip that wall, which is probably why he is out.
Made a mistake, and Gecko invalidated in that chicane. I just watched him do that. Cookie goes a bit wide there too, realizing this is not his lap at all. Josh continuing to improve, and he will stay second fastest for Aston Martin. If Aston Martin could take a pole position tonight, that would be absolutely incredible. The last time they took pole position as a team was when they were named BWT Racing Point, and that goes all the way back to Season 4, Round 13.
Yeah, talk about wild history there.
Tell me about it. Well, I think guys have gone to the pit lane to get fresher tires. Scyther's improving by 0.03 on the lap. Currently, a big pole margin from the American driver, sliding the rears at the hairpin to gain extra traction, helping him out for the current moment. This McLaren car, it not great around here, I'll tell you that right now, from what Scyther's shown on the lap data chart. And like I said earlier, these wet conditions being the great equalizer, as always, as they say. Jumping over the curb, trying to find that extra bit of time. He's got a couple cars in front of him for a good measure that are traffic. improving by 2/10, so he's continuing to find more time, hopping over those curbs, hopping over this curb, and now that was where he clunked the wall last season to go on to take pole position, and again sliding the rears to find extra traction and find extra bits of time. Rascass, Anthony Noge, final straight, final time, would have been DRS here, but that's offline. It's not going to be offline for pole position. It's going to be provisional pole, 19-1, and if anybody's going to take that record away from Cookie on that consecutive pole streak, it might be this guy, PSR Scyther.
I mean, literally, look at the gap between him and second. 1.12 seconds is the gap between first and second. So Scyther is finding that improvement and just putting a exclamation point on that set. And I'm betting since Cookie is back on the track, I think that's going to give Cookie a bit of a spur to say, okay, he's finding pace. I bet I can find pace.
You don't want to crash out of qualifying with these conditions improving because it's going to hinder your qualifying position even further. But you want to find time to be able to be near Scyther. Car in the way of Gecko there coming out of the pit lane. That was the Mercedes of Be Good, I believe. No, it's TB actually coming back out. Either way, we'll go on board with Gecko now. One of our last flying laps here. Coming to now. Turn number 5. 17 thousandths up. There is time to find here for him and others as well. But now, hairpin corner. And we come toward Portier right now. Turn number 8. Sliding the rears. Tank slapper there from him. Gecko under the tunnel now, where probably the most driest patch of the track you have. Now, chicane where he invalidated previously goes a bit wide in the process to try to non-validate this time. Now, coming to back, doesn't clip the wall this time. 3/10 down, so not pushing like he was the last time. I think we're gonna go aboard with Cookie now, who is 7 thousandths down and was a little wide there at the hairpin. We'll see if he can find time here to go to provisional pole and take it over Scyther. But Scyther kind of pulling out the Lewis Hamilton type of qualifying session here in the wet as of the current moment.
Yeah, I'm reckoning so. I mean, with Sector 1, it's like not that hard to get basically a perfect run for Sector 1, but I mean, it's literally 2 and 3 that's where it really can be. Cookie is about a 10th and a half up in Sector 2, so he's heading his way into Rascass and the final corner of Anthony Nogues. Right now, 10th and a half up. That won't put him third fastest, but it's still a considerable gap to the lead. And 20.0 for Cookie puts him second place right now.
He's on the front row, but it's not good enough to hold that current pulse stat that we were talking about. 6 in a row he has. He's tied with Maxwell. Josh is down in the first sector. TB is on a lap. Gecko's on a lap as well. The further ones behind Cam, who don't have a lap, Be Good and Lewis Piper, both are on track right now as well. Gecko is going fast in the second sector. What can he do?
He's almost
Ferrari?
7/10 up.
Yeah, Ferrari have a pole position around here, but they would like to add a second one. If Gecko can come across the line and do that, that'd be great. He comes across the line and make it to front row. The track conditions are improving a ton, so it may be the last one to cross the line gets the best lap. Across the line comes TB. That's a lap being started. Across the line now comes Josh to defend the front row. He will take third place, though, in the process.
I don't know if Be Good's going to make it.
Yeah, 6/10 up for J&T. Be Good is at risk of making it to the flag in time. J&T is 5th for Haas. Be Good across the line might just make it.
He's not going to make it. I think he's going to be just short.
Is improving. Cookie will go to not provisional pole. He was almost there, and Be Good does make the flag just in time.
Cookie, literally half a second.
Made a massive mistake in the last sector. Cookie was 8/10 up. I thought he was going to take pole, but he could not do it. He had a massive mistake in sector 3. That will hinder him. Reese Dainty won this race last season, breaking a 13-race drought. Now he's improving 4/10 in the middle sector, and now looking to take pole position. It's been quite a bit since he's done that. End of last season when he won the championship, 3rd place right now. Scyther on a lap improving. Lewis Piper, 4th for him. Ferrari with Gecko will take the front row and keep it. Scyther will be one of the next ones to cross the line. TB, 2/10 up, trying to make it a first Merc pole in Monaco. Can he do it? No. He has most podiums here, but Scyther extends pole position. Scyther. My gosh. Aston Martin with Josh's 4th. Cookie is only finding 400ths in the middle sector. We'll see what he could do. J&T is down. J&T's made a mistake. J&T can't do it. Cookie trying to defend pole position for 6 in a row. He's going to be front row, though, but not enough. And it is going to be Scyther who took pole position here last season, breaking that streak for Red Bull and Cookie. He will take a pole position here for McLaren tonight, his first for the team.
Very true. And Be Good was the last one across. He was 6th fastest. But yeah, Scyther just kept improving and improving. 4/10 separates him and Cookie. And Gecko, what a surprise there to see him in 3rd. Very good running from him. And I just saw very quickly in the Discord, TB, who could barely improve, was 8th. He said that the tires kept overheating on him.
That may have been the big factor. Reese was wondering where they were finding time too. Josh, a good showing for Aston Martin. The big surprise of this session. He's in the top 5. Only Reese for Red Bull is the 2nd car to repeat for one of the teams. We now go to the race where, by the way, it looks to be dry. Pit stop loss around here is a total of 19 seconds. You gain 12% in the pit lane, so not a lot, but got to be careful with how you use that battery. We now have the drivers editing fuel and last-minute adjustments. Prior to the race, I'm going to quickly go AFK. I'll be back by the start.
Well, while he is AFK for a little bit, we'll quickly recap on our grid. We have Hunted and Wavy making up the back row. Shanghai and George making up row 9. Tadpole and Barney making up row 8. Then we have FRC Knights and Owen in row number 7. Row 6 is Formula Cringe and The Chiller. And moving on to the top 3, row 5, it is Cam who crashed out. J&T in 9th. TB and Lewis Piper making up row 4.
I'm back.
Be Good, Josh making up row 3. Reese and Gecko making up the 2nd row. And the front row held by Cookie and Scyther.
Just a reminder where we are tomorrow for Formula Endurance. We're in Hungary. Tier 2 next week. They are in Britain. And lastly, if you want to continue to tune in the action, next week we're in Spain. Here come the 5 red lights. Now. Time to kick off Season 10 Monaco Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Can we avoid the heroics? We usually see it at Sandoval. We saw him in Season 8. They now get single file up till 4th. They collide almost. Josh was right in the middle. Little squeeze play from Reese Dainty there. And Lewis Piper 3 wide at turn 1. Usually doesn't work, but somehow they avoid the action and the trouble there. A little bit of trouble further on back because Barney has lost 2 seconds to them. And the Chiller's been spun round. Owens also collected. The 2 ex-teammates have come together, and now up in front of that, Lewis Piper and Reese Dainty side by side at the hairpin. They connect wheels, but they should be okay in the meantime.
Yeah, and Barney has gone off in the in the escape section of Mirbo, and George currently battling with Shanghai through Portier, gets himself in a 14th. But yeah, Lewis Piper try to send a sticking in 3 wide. Josh coming out worse of it, losing a position. And same with Reese, he lost position. Lewis Piper wildly getting himself into 4th place. Very good run for him as well. Cookie, by the way, still sitting off in the second place. He's got Gecko all over his back end. Scyther crossing the line to finish off lap 1. 1.3 seconds to gap. So Scyther already DRS clear.
George had issues on lap 1. He has come to the pit lane. So is the teammate Barney. Big winners on the start would include the follow. Hold on. Cam on J&T gets the move done there in turn 2. Big winners on the start would include the following. It would include Lewis Piper, Tadpole, Shanghai, Wavy, and Hunted. Now, you have the Mercedes, Be Good, following Josh here at the hairpin. TB ducking out, trying to avoid any contact. But seems like besides the midfield and the back of the field, mostly clean lap 1. The issue started with the Chiller and Owen. And as you said, Barney went off there at turn 4, I believe, turn 4 or 5. Either way, he was in a concertina effect that backed everyone up after turn 1. But the heroics we see in a Sandoval were avoided. And we've had issues there even later on in the race in previous seasons. Luke and Beatnik had that happen before as well. But lap 2, led by Scyther, he's extending the gap by 4/10 even further over championship leader Cookie. If Scyther attends every race this season and ends up doing exactly what he's doing now by outpacing Cookie and just beating him in the races where Cookie doesn't win, then perfect for him. But we have almost trouble for Josh. He got punted out of the way by Be Good, and now it's Josh and TB side by side here. A little bit of contact, usually not side by side here, but TB down the inside. They touch. Josh somehow will remain ahead though. TB was affected a little bit though, because he had been ghosted by the game. And he did underfield TB, just to put that into perspective.
Stick his nose in there to try to get past Josh. I mean, Josh was sent into a slide from that contact by TB. I mean, bear in mind, Josh is on loan from the Ferrari Academy, so he does not need to abide by the rules on the Mercedes cars behind him. He can fight them if he chooses to. TB just clipped the inner wall at the end of the swimming pool chicane. And, oh, he's clipping the wall again. TB's just struggling just a little bit. But yeah, Be Good up in the 6th place. But yeah, Josh, like I said, on loan, so he does not need to abide by these guys. Looks like Shanghai's hanging into the pits.
Yeah, Tadpole was just going wheel to wheel with FRC Knights at turn number 1. That could have ended in danger. We've got Cringe on the back of J&T haunting him up as well. And TTM Barney, yep, lapped in this race. You saw that. Yellow flags up in front. That was maybe the Alfa Romeo. Might have been the Ferrari of Cam. But we now have TB clunking the wall again. Lost the rear right there. And now Cam fighting to get by.
Yeah, TB is not having a good time. I'm wondering if maybe he has overheat. His tires are overheating. Because he did complain during qualifying his tires were overheating. If his tires are overheating in the race, this is going to be crucial for him. I'm thinking if his tires are overheating as he just clips the wall again, I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet if he's overheating, I'm betting you his tire pressures are too high.
The guy who's had the most podiums around the circuit is finding trouble. And already, lap 5, Scyther setting more fastest laps on the hard tires and extending the gap 2.3. And Scyther keeping everything well in check so far. We have races on our hands for 3rd place, 5th place. We had Shanghai and George side by side further on back. But 39 laps of this race can get boring. However, Reese, avoiding hitting Lewis Piper, almost was overtaken by Be Good, and he almost went for a very opportunistic move there at turn number 5, Mirabeau there. Yeah, Scyther made a mistake. 1.6 now the lead. Hold on just a second. We're good.
Yep.
TB 3 second.
Me in the penalty club.
That is not a surprise from what we just saw not too long ago.
I mean, yeah, this little mini DRS train that's happening right here with Gecko as Be Good just bumps into the back of Reese. I'm on board with him at the back of this little train here. And now Cookie's now set the fastest lap, trying to chase down Scyther. 1.3 seconds separates Cookie and Scyther, but Cookie to Gecko, 4.5 seconds to gap. It looks like Lewis Piper was attempting to probably trying to make a shot to get past Gecko, but Gecko being as wide as possible to keep Lewis Piper back.
Yellow flags. That's the Aston of DeChiller off at turn 1. He comes back on without any damage, and Hunted and Wavy collision. Turn number 3 right there. Wavy, the one who's been affected most. I must say about Cookie and Scyther, by the way, I don't know what Cookie's found, but he just pulled a massive gap over Gecko. I get Gecko's in a train of cars, probably holding them up, but even then, he gained that gap on Scyther quite a bit, and still, I know he just lost a little bit, but still, he's within striking distance if anything happens here.
I completely agree with you on that one. Yeah, let's take a look at some of these. I just also want to take a peek at some of the strategies that some of these drivers are on as they're making their way through and getting these laps done. We have FRC Knights on the soft compound tire. Wavy, Tadpole, J&T, TB, Josh, Be Good, Lewis Piper, and Gecko onto the mediums. Everyone else is on the hard compound tire. The only difference being George, Shanghai, and Barney. Well, now Wavy, they're now heading into the pits. They have already had a stop.
And around the outside at the hairpin, there was a stack up, but TB is in the wall and almost took advantage. Josh and him are side by side now to Portier. TB. Wow, that is brave. And now side by side, wheel to wheel racing in the tunnel. Josh
Who's gonna blink first
for the Nouvelle Chicane? Who's gonna back out? It's Josh. And going wide is Reese Dainty, and off was Be Good too.
Yeah, I think Be Good might have misbraked and hit the back of Reese. That's why Reese is around and lost several spots. That is not good for Red Bull to lose many spots, but in other ways, this is also a plus for McLaren because they can extend their constructors' lead. And also, on a side note, and I think I might be wrong. No, yeah, I'm not wrong. We're only on lap 7, and we already have one car lap down. Barney has been lapped.
Yeah, Be Good was the one taking the access road, and Reese was the one on the barrier, so there was that. That's now put TB outside of DRS. He's underfueled quite a bit, and leads a DRS train now rather than him being in one. Tadpole makes the move on FRC Knights further on back. FRC Knights just getting that curb all wrong right there in the hairpin. 1.7 the gap for the lead, but Gecko's 8 seconds back from Cookie. Now is being pressurized by Lewis Piper here. And now Be Good also wanting to get by TB because he knows what's at stake there to catch up to these guys after that little off. And he doesn't have damage, so he was the one taking the escape road. But Reese was the one in trouble with the front wing damage.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, I think it is highly likely that Be Good, as the Mercedes pair did switch up. But yeah, I think Be Good might be paying a visit to the steward's office because he was behind Reese before the collision, before what happened between the two of them. I'm thinking going into that chicane, I think Be Good misjudged his braking just enough, and him and Reese wound up bumping into each other. But that's just my thinking there. But a couple of laps ago, TB with that outside attack against Josh. I mean, attacks in the hairpin, it is rare, it is very risky, but TB likes taking risks, and he gets it done, and he had it done and did it extravagantly.
I don't really even think he meant to do that. He just was around the outside. Yep, side by side.
TB just
Cam
clipped
and him.
the wall.
He is having so much trouble, TB is. Not only did he underfuel, but he also is now in a ghosting session with Cam here. TB is coming out ahead of that. And yellow flags further on back.
Oh,
Wavy has broken his front wing. And now TB is the one in trouble. TB has bits of his front wing coming off now, too.
yeah, TB in Novell, he clipped the wall, the inner wall of the Nouvelle chicane with his right rear wheel. That's why he was slow exiting out of there. But then he overshot in the braking zone of Raskas. That's why he's missing that chunk of his wing. And now TB all the way down in 9th. That is not good for him. So TB not having the greatest Monaco race, I will admit.
Scyther and Cookie have pulled out a 12-plus second gap over Gecko, and Cookie is keeping that gap consistent. Some laps he gains, some laps he doesn't, but he is at least keeping Scyther on his toes for this race win later on. Josh is having a good run for Aston Martin, as we mentioned before. The train is now formed between Gecko, Lewis Piper, and Be Good, rather than just Lewis Piper and Gecko. And Cam has a train now at Josh and Reese that is not involving TB this time. J&T was close not too long ago at Formula Cringe for a move. He's the last points runner. And pitting is both Williams, who are facing trouble and now going a lap down.
Yeah, so now we have 3 cars have gone a lap down. Shanghai, Wavy, and Barney, as TB has gone to the pits. I mean, he's gonna get that wing replaced, but yeah, TB just not having a good day at all.
Oh.
Yeah, just saw Lewis Piper's little slide, and Be Good almost bumped into the back of him. But
I just want to mention as a side note, Titan, so we don't forget, Cookie was just in DRS for a full sector there, but remember, there's only one DRS straight around the circuit.
well, he's in it now.
There you go. Now he's out of it.
And they have virtually the exact same ERS, roughly. Cookie with 92%, Scyther only 6% less.
Yep. Using it for a moment, Scyther was. Scyther's gone warning free on track limits these first 11 laps. Yellow flags for Shanghai. Having no front wing now and gonna need another repair in the pit lane. This now becomes his 3rd pit stop of this race.
Yeah, I mean, broken wings, stuff like that, anything
Broken
is
hearts.
likely to happen. I mean, with some leagues when they race Monaco, they basically have like what is it? A front wing roulette. They basically take bets on how many front wings will be broken in the course of a Monaco Grand Prix race.
Because of Gecko backing these guys up in 3rd place, it's now caught up Cam, who was in that train further on back. Tadpole gets the move done there with a little dive bomb on J&T. But yeah,
he did.
14 seconds, 15 seconds now. Cookie right in the back of Scyther for the lead.
And
We don't usually see
TB got clear
move here.
of the chiller at Mirabeau.
Fair play there. Cookie using DRS behind Scyther for the race lead. Cookie's found time. Also, J&T down the order. He had it off at the chicane, it looks like. That's costed him.
Be Good's in the pits.
Yes, he is. Maybe going for an undercut here. This is exactly when the pit stops would start. It did say lap 13 on my notes, so that is correct. Got Josh, Cam, Reese, a little 3-car race here now with that train being broken up.
Despite being involved in that little incident earlier, Reese hanging on in 7th, not bad for him at all. J&T is also in as well. But yeah, so far we've got 2 drivers a lap down with Barney and Wavy. And Gecko's in the penalty box now.
That's the same corner he had been messing up in qualifying, and he's had an error there again. Now Be Good on new fresher tires, needs to get by Knights. He does just that.
And Knights doesn't bother to fight against it. He is now back into the points in 10th place spot. Next up, it's, well, Tadpole just lagged. Just lagged backwards. Oh, yeah, Tadpole's got some really bad lag going on because he was in 9th, but then all of a sudden, boom, he's all the way down in 14th.
Yeah. Race leader Scyther pulling some rear locks there at the hairpin to kind of catch Cookie off, it looks like, from the race lead. In is Tadpole. J&T and George are having a battle into the Nouvelle Chicane. It's George having to take the place and pick up the pieces. TB also got ahead of Owen there in the meantime. But yeah, we got a nice couple scraps here for a Monaco Grand Prix. Usually this race is boring. I said to some people, hey, come watch. Well, you're probably watching for the chaos as well, because this circuit, it's not the greatest for making the moves, but we're seeing some more moves made than I thought we would. Last season, I thought it was decent, considering we had a decrease in attendance. There was like 13, 15 maybe here. Oh, two Ferrari Academy cars collide. J&T somehow keeps it out of the barriers. But as I was saying about lack of attendance here last season, we saw a good amount of overtakes with that being said, but with a full grid this time and 19 runners left, we still are seeing some moves being made in this race, and TB is the recent one over FRC Knights.
Yeah, just before Tabaki gets it done, and yeah, as you were saying, people say, well, Monaco's boring. There ain't much overtaking. Well, you're missing out. You're missing out on the RPL racing because you can see some really fun stuff here, especially just like with
TB's off
with the race next week. Yep, I
or
just
no,
see
sorry,
that.
not TB.
That's Wavy.
Oh, sorry, that was maybe Be Good. Who was that? Someone was off.
Yeah, it was Wavy.
All right, yep, that was a lap car in between them. My apologies.
Oh,
J&T's now off, facing the wrong way. Pitting is the Chiller and Knights. We'll be seeing a lot of repair jobs from teams. Cam's out. He hit the wall right before the Nouvelle Chicane. And that was right in front of Josh. We just caught the end of that. His hopes once again in a Ferrari have come dashing down in a race where he gets to prove himself. And that's not the way to do it. Now Barney's crashed.
Yeah, Cam crashed in Nouvelle, almost identical to how he crashed in, almost identical to where he crashed in Q3, and Barney crashed into back.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Cookie's now lost DRS to your race leader Scyther. We'll make sure we tune into that later, but Josh is now letting Reese Dainty go. Josh and Gecko will be the next ones to pit, but J&T also out as well in the process. That is 3 Ferrari Academy cars in that span.
So, I just want to cut in. So, you'd be thinking with some of the incidents that are happening, you'd be like, that should be a safety car. Safety car is off. We have no safety car today.
Well then, let me check that to be sure with you. George is retired. The entire Ferrari Academy is now in a disaster right now. You're right, it is off. Oh my God, I can't believe that the Chiller messed that up. As the host. Now Cringe has a little train here. 4 Ferrari Academy cars have just DNF'd in the last 2 minutes. And Wavy, by the way, just to mention, let's look at him. Ghosted. Right now, racing with no power. His house has no power. What is happening in this race? Lewis Piper by Cringe. He was the one holding these guys up. Lewis Piper and TB were the ones to pit, so they're going to be called out when it comes to battling Reese and Gecko later on. And Josh, for good measure. But what is happening in this race?
I have no idea. But, yeah, I mean, literally, I'm just finding out with all the stuff that happened. I'm like, why is there no safety cars? That should have been a safety car with Cam crashing. I look, and I'm like, oh,
Gecko
no
and Reese!
car.
They collide out of the chicane. Oh, my goodness. And the chaos is still not letting down,
Whoa!
and Gecko's on the wall.
And Reese almost lost it.
And Gecko pits for that, surely. Has to. He's got damage. And his team will have to do a repair job for that one. Oh my god. And Josh, prime position here for Aston Martin to take full advantage. On loan.
Also, I just noticed Scyther has pulled away from Cookie. Cookie's now out of DRS again, and Lewis Piper got past TB before Sandoval.
Two Ferrari Academy cars, George and JNT, are not happy with one another. So Ferrari Academy, their disaster has now hit the main Ferrari driver of Gecko without front wing damage. In is Cookie. Cookie is trying the undercut, and he is in for what's going to be medium tires. Be good with a penalty. If Ferrari fail to score points, they're going to have that, streak of consecutive races in the points reset once again. Josh is in for Aston Martin.
Oh, Gecko just disconnected. We'll get him back.
Further on back, Owen is in a race with Hunted now for P number 9. The Chiller in the penalty club now. Yep, that's not good at all. JNT's left the session. He's already out of this race, so he's one of 5 guys who are no longer competing.
It's kind of wild that we've seen all this issues with the Ferrari Academy cars in this race. I mean, last season I think both Ferraris, they were doing pretty dang good, but we have one DNF'd and one currently out of points right now.
And we now got a race on our hands on the main straight. Cookie with the undercut is going to be in the race lead. He's ahead of Scyther, and he now maintains control of this race with that undercut. A lap earlier, he was in DRS, and now he's got Scyther out of DRS. Perfectly timed. Wow.
My goodness.
Josh on the main straight battling Formula Cringe. Formula Cringe has to give that place up. He's yet to pit, but Josh, who's already pitted, now going to chase after Reese Dainty once again. So staying out definitely costed them compared to TB and the others, but TB will have to pit again on these soft tires. They will only go within the next 6 laps.
I completely agree with you on that one, and there's only 3 drivers that have not done their stops yet. That's currently the Alpha Tauris of Cringe and Owen, and Hunted is the only other car left.
Yeah. Wavy Knife joins back the session. But we have got a race for the lead on our hands as well as Gecko overtakes Owen. Gecko now has Hunted to get by. Hunted's going to protect. Gecko is side by side with Hunted into the final sector here. Hunted has to back out. Gecko gets the place, and pitting is now TB for a second time in this race. That 2-stop will come in handy as Hunted now is part of the penalty club.
Yeah, Hunted into the penalty box as well, and then he's actually in with Owen. So that means Formula Cringe is the last driver yet to pit. Yeah, TB with a second stop, so he is going to be coming out in the 9th place position. That puts him behind Knights. But with Gecko and TB, with TB having a penalty, he will lose that 9th place at the moment to Knights, because TB has a 3-second, while Knights does not. And Be Good, by the way, he is 8 seconds clear of Lewis Piper. So even with the penalty that he's got, even if he gets a penalty for what happened with Reese, which is probably going to be a common second, at the moment, Be Good is going to be keeping third right now.
See if it happens. He could be on for his first Tier 1 podium. He's a winner in FE.
Oh!
And tapped from the lead. Tapped from the lead has been Cookie from Scyther. And they both apologize to each other in the same voice chat immediately. So it's all good between them.
Yeah, that was a oops on Scyther's part, but he didn't go past Cookie after that contact. He let Cookie continue on. That's actually good sportsmanship between these two competitors. As what streamers say, they are in a voice chat together in the Discord, so they know. So they are we're talking to each other, and these guys, they know each other very well. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. It's going to be quite interesting just to see these two brawl as the laps continue on.
Yeah, DRS for Scyther right there, but less battery for him compared to Cookie. The Chiller is in DRS of Tadpole, Owen and DRS of Haunted. Those are our only battles on the circuit right now, halfway done in this race. Yeah, I now give you access, by the way, to the iRacing voice chat if you want to join in, Titan, to look at Scyther's onboard while we're at it. Just try to stay muted there because I don't want them to know we're in there. Doing a little bit of spying as commentator, but Scyther through that chicane, by the way, just picked up a track limit warning. I believe that's his first of this race.
I can check if necessary.
I'll check.
Take a look.
But I did see that.
Yeah,
He's gonna try
I know
outside.
Cookie's got one.
Not gonna try it. Hold on just a moment here.
It's actually a second.
Oh boy. DRS on the main straight for Scyther. Can he get by into turn 1? No. Cookie hangs on for this race lead once again. Keep in mind, considering how much earlier Be Good pitted, those tires will be blistering by the end. Will they make it? Most likely. We saw Weiso make it on very worn tires last season for Haas with their first points of the season. So Be Good could probably do the same, but in comparison to rivals such as Lewis Piper, Reese Dainty, Josh, and Gecko, a little bit worse on that end.
I completely agree with you in that regard. Also, just looking a little bit further back, Be Good, despite with it, now Lewis Piper is actually gaining ground on Be Good. About 3 laps ago, gap was just over 8.1 seconds. Now Lewis Piper 6.4. So in the span of 3 laps, as Scyther gets a little loose out of the exit of the swimming pool area. But yeah, his teammate Lewis Piper gained 2.8 seconds in the span of 3 laps.
Scyther is still in DRS pursuit of Cookie, so he's keeping him close, but he's using that battery once again, and he's almost going to be below 10% on the ERS.
And it's not good because Cookie has 50% on him.
Oops, Scyther just hit the wall, I think, for a moment. But he's okay, no damage. And you said safety car is off, obviously. You know, we can't restart, we know that. But, you know, if something ever happens to Scyther or Cookie, look at the gap they're going to have for the race win over Be Good. Well, let alone the gap they already have over Be Good, these two American drivers running 1-2.
Absolutely, and I'm just going a little bit further back. There's a decent train here that Tadpole just created with the Chiller, Cringe, his teammate, and Owen. And Cringe going around the outside. Oh wow!
He's been involved in a couple of battles thus far.
Of the Chiller and gets him in turn 1.
I just missed the end of that. My apologies. Or just missed the beginning of that. Sorry, my apologies, folks. But this is for points. This is for the last point spot. And With TB's troubles he's had so far, I mean, he's had, what, 3 seconds of penalties? He's had mistakes already. Wouldn't be surprised if this can become P9 later on. Formula Cringe, this car is terrible, AlphaTauri. It's the second slowest car on the circuit, usually the slowest in this game cycle. Reese Dainty gets by Lewis Piper, and now Cringe pushing Tadpole along. Dive down the inside. He's getting tapped. He's through for now. But can he keep the straight line speed ahead of Tadpole? Yes, he's got the place. It's all his. Nice little scrap there for P10.
Cringe just basically did 2 of the ballsiest overtakes in the span of 1 lap. He got the chiller on the outside in Sandoval, and then muscled his way into Neuville chicane against Tadpole. Jeez, Cringe. My goodness.
And his teammate on loan just got the chiller, and now the chiller and Hunted are side by side up to turn 3. Contact and off the wall. The chiller keeps it. My goodness. And then he hits the wall after that.
Wow.
Just checking about how Reese got Lewis Piper, by the way. It was an easy DRS pass on the main straight. Reese Dainty took over P4 from that. TB now adds another penalty, as I was saying.
Yeah, 6 seconds of penalties for him, but he's got a very good, comfortable gap because the car behind, FRC Knights, 12 seconds behind and growing. Knights does have a 3-second penalty on his hands, which he will lose that 9th place because Cringe is 2.5 seconds behind and clawing his way through that gap.
Owen contacted Rascas. He's ghosted inside of the Alpines, and he's in an Alpine sandwich right now. So Owen is going around the outside at turn 1. This is the second time this has happened. He's maybe going to try a switch back, but he has Hunted there for company. He gets the traction on turn 1, and he's going to make this move stick. Maybe. Can he keep it ahead? Is he clear? Yes, he is.
Wow.
Wow. That was ballsy from the Tier 2 championship leader.
Oh my god, that was very, very ballsy right there. Owen tried to do the same thing his teammate did, just couldn't get it to fully execute.
Think of it this way. I know there's some people in this chat who don't usually watch Formula One or, you know, don't usually league race. Keep it at this to understand this circuit that we're racing around tonight. That's like if you ended up racing around, with the runoff at least, like the Neuville chicane, your school parking lot, or city street with how it is. I mean, it is a street circuit, so, you know, it's in the name, of course. But think about, like, your local city and closest town with red lights and green lights and turning. Scyther's coming in. I think he may have picked up a damage. We'll find out. But that's exactly how tight the street circuit is. Scyther is coming in for what is going to be a 2-stop now to try to counter Cookie, it looks like.
Cookie is
Formula
going
Cringe
to be
again!
5 ways ahead now, that's for sure.
Again! With a dive bomb. Makes it work there at what is turn number 5. Mirabu.
Wow. I mean, literally, Formula Cringe is on something, that's for sure.
He's not making me cringe.
He's done a lot of great overtakes.
Not making me cringe. I'm happy with this. Reese Dainty, in that battle with Lewis Piper, has his rival Lewis Piper pick up a penalty. He is into the penalty box, and that now means we've got only 6 drivers left of the 15 remaining in the penalty clock. The penalty club.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, look who, I'm on board with Reese. Look who he's catching up to. He's catching up to Be Good.
After that spin.
I know Reese is the calm and collected sort. Never lets things get the better of him. But I wonder if him and Be Good are gonna be racing a little tricky against each other going into this.
Okay, I think I see why Scyther's also pitted. May have realized he might not be able to get Cookie with just that, and he would have had second regardless, so he's going to try to get the fastest lap from Dainty, who has it occupied at the current moment. Find out if he does so and prevails with it, but he gained a second there in Cookie. You're going to need more than a second in the next 9-10 laps of this race. He's gaining a 10th on his personal best in Sector 1. Formula cringe now with a penalty after that good race he's had. Man. Owen
And
had
I can't believe I'm going to be
barrier,
saying this,
anyway.
but Hunted, he's trying to get into DRS of Owen, but there's a problem. He's got Cookie on his back end, so Cookie's going to get some DRS help.
Owen's going to get some DRS help from Knights in front of that for 10th place.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst thing that could have happened to Scyther, because look at this. He's just gained 2.5 seconds, if not more, and he's closing this rate at a ridiculous amount. He's going to get fastest lap here. He's 5/10 up in the second sector. Scyther needed some way to counter Cookie here, and he's just gained almost 3 seconds. Fastest lap there by 6/10 almost.
Just have to see how long he gains, how much he gains as the laps tick by, because Cookie did get past Hunted, so now Hunted is a lap down. Next up is Owen, that he's going to put a lap down. Now Owen, he'll add the blue flag on him, but Owen really would like to get past FRC Knights, because, I mean, if Owen goes a lap down and Knights stays in the lead lap, Owen will not get an opportunity to take a point position. On board with him now.
I also should add on this, usually in our normal circumstances, oh, by the way, Cookie's just made a mistake because of that, and then let me just name you why. In our normal circumstances, Cookie picking up DRS here is not a bad thing at all, but it's the fact of the matter that it's now a distraction for Cookie in this fight that he's trying to, you know, kind of keep Scyther at bay with the gap, but to at least be comfortable here, because Scyther's gaining at a fast rate and a rapid one at that. But, you know,
2 seconds.
It counters it out, though. It counters it out. He would be benefiting off this Cookie, the DRS, but he's not. He's just losing out because of that, because these guys are a distraction. It makes it level playing ground now because of that, and Lewis Piper is into the pit lane for McLaren. I think this is for a front wing change.
He's going on to the
It is.
softs.
But it is a front wing change.
Yes, I did see that, yeah. So it looks like he'll come out behind TB, but he'll have a good gap ahead of Formula Cringe.
Wavy Knife picks up a penalty. And the battle for P3 is on. Reese Dainty battling the driver who he collided with earlier on. It's Be Good. His name for today, which is why you're wondering who is Be Good. He's usually going by B or Be Good, but for the moment, he's changed his name to I Know No Wanna. And I don't think he wants to be overtaken by Reese Dainty by the name as well, because he's got a sad face next to it. Crash. There's a crash in Sector 1. I think it was Wavy? Yes, it was. And Gecko's got another penalty to his name.
My goodness. There's penalties galore for some of these people. But, I mean, with Reese, even if he's stuck behind Be Good for the third place, he's still going to get it anyways because Be Good has a penalty.
Yeah, but don't get yourself a penalty in the process either.
Well, don't forget, Be Good may be facing some trouble from his earlier incident with Reese earlier in the race.
More yellow flags for just a moment, but it's all good. And I don't think Cookie or Scyther realize, as I'm just, you know, kind of snookering in on their voice chat for the moment as Wavy lets the leader go. Well, the leaders go. I don't think they realize there's no safety car, because that's happened, you know, due to Darius having a slight incompetency on hosting tonight. And they don't realize that.
Well, I know one thing for sure. The Chiller is going to get chewed out by
Oh, yeah.
by the uppers for not having it on.
TB gets overtaken by Lewis Piper on the fresher tires. That's with ease. Now it's Hunted trying to make the move on Eversea Knights. Reese Dainty still behind Be Good here, trying to find a way past. But Be Good has done a good job at keeping him at bay. The problem is, though, the penalty at the expense of that will come into effect at the end of this race and be applied, moving him down to 4th once again, and it will be a second 4th place finish for him, coming shy of a podium if he finishes right where he's at now.
Yeah, absolutely. I just noticed currently on the differentials and stuff, Scyther is just now gone under 10 seconds behind Cookie. So Scyther gained about 10 seconds in the span of, I think it's about 4 or 5 laps. So, I mean, I don't know if he'll have enough time to catch Cookie to try to get him for the lead.
Cookie's tires will be going off of a cliff here soon, but you got to factor in that Scyther's tires will be wearing as well, and now he's got lap traffic to negotiate. He will get DRS off of Hunted and or Knights if they stay in front, but the problem is, though, this is at the hairpin. Scyther's caught these guys, and it is troublesome for him to try to get by. They're not giving him any leeway at all in the current moments, although they do have blue flags. Now Scyther's through on them, but yeah, gap is 9.4. Not close enough to mount a last lap charge or anything amongst the likes of that. So it looks like Cookie has this gap comfortably covered for the time being, unless he makes a mistake or crashes. I mean, there's really no way Scyther gains here unless Cookie's tires do go off a cliff and Wavy out.
Yeah, out of Mirabo.
And they're wondering if there will be a safety car, but there's not gonna be. They're just given
how late it is.
Yeah. The only problem for Scyther as well, you said what, he was on 2 track limit warnings?
Yes.
He's got to keep it clean then. Cookie's on what, 1 you said?
Yeah, last I saw, yes. Unless he got another one.
So there you go. That's going to be the factor in what determines this race win if Scyther does somehow come with blitzing speed here. But Scyther's just made a mistake, I think, at the hairpin, when he could have gained on Cookie that gap. Couldn't do it.
Cookie did get a second warning. He got it on lap 34.
Okay. So this is what the difference will be with Scyther and him then for the win. If there is penalties, that is what Scyther will be hoping for now if he can't catch him here. I don't see him catching him. I don't. To where he passes him. He might pressurize him in the last lap to where he's within DRS at the last moment, but catching's one thing around Monaco, overtaking is another. And that's something Reese Dainty has failed to do behind Be Good, but he doesn't even need to do it for the current moment, unless Be Good appeals this penalty and doesn't get penalized for the contact with Reese as well. Gap is 7.4 with just 3 laps remaining.
I mean, if Cookie does get himself into the penalty box and Scyther doesn't, if that happens, Scyther will have to gain over 4 seconds just to basically get the win on the penalties. But with Cookie getting a penalty, I don't think I've seen him get a track limit penalty yet this season. Scyther, we have seen him in the past get track limit penalties.
Hold on. Reese here.
Ooh, yeah, I saw.
Was thinking of it and just got cut off. He made a move in that section last season on the chiller, but this season comes to no prevail.
Reese is trying his best. He wants that 3rd place. He's like, I don't want to get that. I don't want to get 3rd based on track limit penalties. I want it now. But Be Good putting on a huge staunching defense against Reese. Well, now with 2 to go, Scyther 6.4 seconds behind. He's only gained about 0.8 in that lap.
The top 9 are the only ones left on the lead lap in this race. So if anyone tries the fastest lap attempt to steal it away from Scyther, you're going to have to do so now rather than the next lap. And still a race on our hands between Lewis Piper and Gecko.
Ooh.
Gecko made a mistake out of the chicane. Lewis Piper takes advantage. And once again, Be Good holding Reese Dainty at bay, but it's just not enough with this penalty that Be Good has.
Completely agree with you on that regard. I'm just taking a peek at the points. Just taking a peek at the points as Gecko just clips the wall out of Anthony Noakes. That's going to cost him a lot right there. Let's take a look at the points here. Red Bull will be getting 40 points at the moment with Cookie's win and Reese going to third. Scyther looking at 19. Lewis Piper getting 8, so that's 27. So that means unofficially at the moment by 1. I think if I saw it right, I think by 1 point. Unofficially, Red Bull will reclaim the constructor's lead, but only by a single point.
Reese doesn't seem too happy with Be Good. There might have been something that we just missed for a moment, but we're on to the final lap of this race. It's now or never for Reese Dainty if he wants the place on track. Cookie's now coming into the Nouvelle chicane. We'll get to him in a moment, but will there be a move made in Sector 1? It's the most likely place to do so. Can Reese Dainty snatch third place on track over Be Good before he gets it on penalties? Ooh,
Cookie's going
Be
to
Good slip. Cookie had a race-long battle with Scyther, and then it became his race to lose. And today, he is going to be a part of the illustrious list of one-time Monaco GP winners. No repeats. Cookie wins in Monaco. He adds his name to that list. He wins the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time in his league racing career and RPL career. Scyther comes across the line second place. Owens had trouble. That's for 9th and 10th. But he will lose that on the penalties he had. Scyther comes across second. Good race from him. Now, it's a fight for third place, and Be Good, trying for a first Tier 1 podium, will not get it. He's going to be losing it to penalties. On Reese Dainty will take a 30th podium for Red Bull Racing. Reese Dainty comes home third after that misfortune earlier on. Be Good, a second, fourth place finish. He's going to start to feel a lot like Nico Hulkenberg here soon. Josh, on loan for Aston Martin, will take P5. A good showing from him. And our last two runners, Lewis Piper and Gecko, come across the line. By the way, congrats to AlphaTauri, double points.
Absolutely good double points finish for the AlphaTauri team. But yeah, the hidden gem of that race being Josh, who basically was doing pretty good in the qualifying, did really fantastic in the race, and finished in 5th place. Very good showing for him, and a good spur for the Aston Martins. But I will be straight up honest. If I had to go with a driver today, well, I am going to say this because of what happened to him earlier in the race and how he kept it cool and recovered back. I think I'm going to give it to Reese.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Cookie's also a viable option. I think Josh is a viable option, and Formula Cringe gave us some neat little overtakes considering where this car is at on the circuit. I'd also consider him. Doesn't matter to me, but there are your podium celebrations from Cookie. Seems to be only champions win here, but he's solidifying himself as an RPL future champion. His 6th all-time win comes today. He's now tied 8th on that all-time win list with Molly. Also for podiums, it's Scyther's 44th, Reese's 40th, now tied with TB for 3rd. Here are your final results. Look at how many guys finished on the lead lap. Cookie, by the way, podium number 9. I don't think those guys will be either happy as well to figure out that the safety car was off. But yeah, there are your final results here in front of your face here. I think I cut out for a moment, so my apologies. I said, I don't know if anyone heard me. I think, yeah, I did. I think I did cut out. But it was Scyther's 44th podium, still second all time. Reese is 40th, tied for third all time, and obviously we mentioned not too long ago as well how Cookie adds another one to his name, tied with Korsman for a ninth podium all time, and I don't think these guys are going to be too happy to find out the safety car was turned off. Not on purpose, but on accident.
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently the chiller, his excuse for what happened with the settings, the reason the safety car was off, he had the settings, the lobby settings completely saved and set and was fully loaded up. But apparently I guess it never saved it, so the safety car reverted back and he's not
I've
happy with
had that
himself, so
happen
he's
before.
saying that someone else should host instead.
You gotta check it twice. That's on the chiller still technically, but I get it if he didn't know it. I do. I'll give him an excuse. But I think it's good we didn't have a safety car race around Monaco here, because I think with the amount of crashes we had in that one stint for that 2-minute stint with 4 Ferrari Academy cars going out of the race, we would have had a safety car to where that would have been prevented, but I'm glad we didn't. And still, even without the safety car, we still had a decent race on our hands nonetheless. So yeah, the Monaco Grand Prix. The Monaco Grand Prix in Season 10 is in the record books, and we could be getting Cookie as champion this season, considering he's won the Monaco Grand Prix. We'll have to find out later on with the remaining rounds. Later on this weekend is Formula Endurance in Hungary. That is tomorrow. I will be on comms for that one. And Tier 2 on Fridays at Britain next week, and F1 goes to Spain for round number 8 next week. Any last minute thoughts, Titan, before our next race?
I'm all good.
All right. Yeah, you gave Reese Dainty Driver of the Day. I think it's a tough one for me. I will say it's between Dainty, Cringe, Josh, and Cookie on my books. You know, I think Zakaria did actually bring up a good point, though. Nonetheless, Cookie won on a day. He was not the fastest, but he played it smart. And I don't think Josh is too happy with Lewis Piper. I'm just listening in with my loud ears to that voice chat. Speaking of voice chats, we'll tune in again next week as well with them to see what happens. They usually do that a lot more now. Cookie, Scyther, and Korsman, and Cam, and Reese, they all join in on the Discord voice chat in the RPL channel to showcase their race with one another. Scyther's the only one who shares his point of view. I usually tune into that as of recent weeks, and it has helped out with some of the insights, to say the least, but yeah, we'll see what happens next week in Spain. Last season there, it was a large gap for victory as well, with Scyther winning the race, but now we go there round 8 this season to find out if anything changes. Cookie will extend that gap in the championship as we know it. Red Bull looks like they'll take back the Constructors' lead with that too. However, make sure you tune in for Endurance tomorrow at Hungary, and F1 next week will be in Spain, as we previously mentioned. But until next time, Monaco Grand Prix done and dusted in the record books, and we get to add another week of racing in our hands next week in Spain and RPL. Until next time, folks, have a good one, and good night. We'll see you then. Your commentators, Ryan Searles, Titan Iron Wolf, signing off.
Yeet.